Okay, hi grade nines. So this is week 2 of the inequalities unit. This is probably the last year we're going to get to cover this year. I could have called this lesson 2. I could have called it part 2. It's basically a continuation of last week. So we're talking about inequalities, and this lesson's from June 3rd to June 10th. I just want to do a quick video on reviewing boundary points. Okay, so if you have, say, x is less than 9, okay, so x is supposed to be less than 9. All right, well, the very first thing is, of course, use 9 as your starting point, somewhere near the middle. It doesn't have to be exact. Start writing in your numbers if they're not provided to you. Okay, so that's more than enough. So it's less than, right? There's a difference between less than versus less than or equals to, okay? And very simply put, when you have or equals to, that's when you're going to close in the dot, okay? So this is a closed boundary point or shaded, okay? But the textbook and your math teacher will call it closed. This is open. So in other words, it does not include the number that it's attached to or speaking about. But nevertheless, 9 is your starting point. You can always start with your circle, okay? Just want to use a straight line here. So it says x is going to be less than 9, right? Okay, so x is going to be less than 9. So the solutions for x are going to go to the left there because we're talking about all the numbers that are allowed for x, right? If x were to equal, say, 4.5, let me just get off my ruler here. So 4.5, then this is true, right? This is true. 4.5, just swapping in, right? There's your x. 4.5 is less than 9. Okay, so the debate is really, do you shade it or not shade it, right? So this is going to be open or not shaded, okay? Because you can't claim that x cannot equal 9, because when you swap in a 9 for the x, when you substitute, you can't claim that 9 is less than 9, right? So that doesn't work. So leave it open, okay? Now, n being greater than 9, okay? So same thing, 9, 10, 11, 12. Really the only, the only difference here is that the direction of the arrow will change, okay? So let's just go 8, 7, there's a 12. Again, the point is, leave that dot, leave the circle not shaded in, and then draw your arrow, okay? Whoops, don't know what happened there. Leave your arrow unbroken, okay? All right, that's basically it, okay? So it's open, okay? Again, open, not shaded, all right? What about the next one? Okay, well, this one says less than 2. So here we're going to say there's 2, there's 1, there's 0, there's -1. You have to pick the numbers on the number line that fits your inequality, right? I'm not going to do a number line between 23 and 36 here. I'm talking about like the number 2. So, you just got to use a little bit of common sense. All right, 2 is our starting point, right? I would shade it in because now this is closed, right? It includes, right? If you were to say A is equal to 2, Mr. Smith, isn't 2 less than or equal to 2? Yes, this is true. This is true. This inequality is true. So you have to shade it in. And of course, I've over-exaggerated by shading it in there. But basically, you're saying any value of A, right, is good. Okay? So A is less than or equal to 2, close the dot. And of course, we probably have one more here where I say greater than. But again, it's the same type of deal, right? The greater than or less than just determines the direction of the arrow. So let's go with, well, let's see, let's put -7 here. So that would be -8, -9, -10, -11. This would be -6, -5, -4. Okay, so again, this is a closed solution. In other words, if y were equal to -7, and you could say -7 is equal to or greater than -7. So yes, this is true. So then you close, you start with your dot. Negative 7 is our starting point. We're definitely going to shade it in. Okay, nice straight line. So it has to be greater than. The direction of the arrow is going to the right. Okay, sorry, it's not perfect, but you get the idea. Okay, that's it. I just wanted to show you the difference between closed versus open. Okay, so to sum up here, if you really want to get put it into a nice little chart, let's use a straight line, Mr. Smith, so the kids don't go crazy. Okay, so okay, what does this look like? What am I doing here? Okay, well, less than or greater than requires an open dot, right? Less than or equals to or greater than or equals to requires that you shade that dot in. Okay, this is called an open boundary. This is called a closed. This includes the number. Okay, this excludes the number. Little vocabulary English there. Okay, that's basically it. All right, just wanted to do a quick review. All right, lesson 2 is coming up. We'll talk about how to rewrite complex inequalities a little bit differently and review the graphing. Okay, cheers.